Now the next exercise is exercise 9.11. What we have? A 14.5 kg mass fastened to the end of a steel wire of unstretched length 1 meter is whirled in a vertical circle with an angular velocity of 2 revolutions per second at the bottom of the circle. The cross-sectional area of the wire is 0.065 centimeter square. Right, cross-sectional area is given. What we need to calculate? Calculate the elongation of the wire when the mass is at the lowest point of its path. And Young modulus Ys is given. Ys means Young modulus for steel, which is 2 into 10 raised to 11 Newton per meter square. So my dear students, here we need to calculate the elongation. Elongation means delta L, right? And from the definition of Young modulus, which is stress upon strain, and from this equation F by A divided by delta L by L, and finally from this equation the delta L will be F into L divided by A into Y, right? So from this equation we can find the delta L, elongation, but we don't have the value of force. We don't have the value of force. We have the length which is given 1 meter, area which is also given 0.065 centimeter square. We can convert in meter square, and Young modulus for steel which is also given. But the thing is, how can we calculate the force, right? And for that we have this available data with us. So what we have? A 14 kg mass is fastened to the end of steel wire. Means this is steel wire, and here the mass of 14.5 kg is fastened like this. Clear? So, and one more thing is given. Length of this wire is given as 1 meter. Clear? Now, which is whirled in a vertical direction like this, whirled in a vertical like this. Clear? And here we need to calculate the important thing is force F. So first of all, what will be the different kind of force on this point? So there are two kind of force. Force due to weight, and here weight is 14.5 kg, right? And force, another force which is centripetal force. By addition of these two force, we will get the total force Ft, or you can say total force F, whatever you want to write, right? So force due to weight, that we know, which is m into g, mass into gravitational constant g. And for centripetal force, the equation for centripetal force, which is mr omega square, right? mr omega square. This is comes from equation F equal to mv square by 2, and from this we can write mr omega square, because we have V equal to R into omega. So these two kind of force due to weight and another force is centripetal force, and the total of these two force, which is our resultant force F, right? So how can we calculate? So mass is given, value of G which is also known, right? First of all, let us simplify. I can write Ft or F, whatever you want. So F equal to m in bracket G plus R omega square. I am just simplifying this equation, right? Now mass is given 14.5 kg, right? Value of G which is 9.8 plus radius R is given which is 1 meter, and omega is nothing but omega is 2 pi R. Omega is 2 pi R and its square, right? Now let us further simplify this equation. So 14.5 in bracket 9.8 plus 4 pi square into R square, but R is given as 1. The 1 square which is equal to 1. So no need to write. So 14.5 in bracket 9.8 plus 4 pi square, right? And after simplifying we will get the 2429 into 5 Newton value of force, right? So here the value of force that we have calculated, F equal to 2429 into 0.5 Newton, right? Now we know from this equation we can easily find the elongation delta L. So delta L which is equal to F into L divided by A into Y. Clear? So here force F which is 2429.5 into length is given 1 meter, right? Now area is given 0.065 centimeter square, right? But if I want to write in meter, then it becomes 65 into 10 raised to minus 7 meter square. So area is 65 into 10 raised to minus 7, right? And Young modulus for steel which is 2 into 10 raised to 11, right? Now numerically simplifying this equation, we will get the value of delta L is 1.87 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter, and finally we can also write in mm 1.87 mm. So this is the elongation when there are two kind of forces applied over here. First is force due to weight and the another one is the centripetal force, right? So in this way you can calculate this example. Now the exercise 9.12. Compute the bulk modulus of water from the following data. So what we need to calculate? Bulk modulus of water. And what are the data available with us? Initial volume is given. Initial volume. So initial volume, let us denote it as V1, which is given as 100 liter, which is given as 100 liter. Now if I want to write in meter cube, then it becomes 100 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube, right? Then pressure increase is also given, means pressure is given, so pressure increase is given 100 atm. Pressure P, which is given as 100 atmosphere. atm means what? Atmosphere. 100 atmosphere. And if I want to convert in Pascal, then simply multiply it with 1.013 into 10 raised to 5. So pressure in Pascal becomes 100 into 1.013 into 10 raised to 5 Pascal, right? Now another thing is final volume is also given. So the final volume, let us consider as V2, which is given as 100.5 liter, and in meter cube 100.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube, right? So these all the things are given, and compare the bulk modulus of water with that of air at constant temperature, and explain in simple terms why the ratio is so large. Ratio of bulk modulus of water to bulk modulus of air, the ratio is large, and we have to explain why this ratio is large, right? So first of all, we have initial volume V1 and final volume V2, and from that we can find the change in volume, delta V, which is equal to V2 minus V1, right? We have V2 and V1, so change in volume, which is V2 minus V1. Now simplifying this, 100 into 5 minus 100 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube, right? So ultimately what we will get, 0.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube. So change in volume that we have calculated, which is 0.5 into 10 raised to minus 3 meter cube, right? Now bulk modulus of water, how can we calculate? So from the equation of bulk modulus, BV, which is equal to PV by delta V, right? And from this equation we can easily calculate the bulk modulus of water. We have the value of pressure, we have the value of volume, and we have the value of change in volume, right? And here we will consider volume V1 equal to V. So pressure P, which is 100 into 1.013 into 10 raised to 5 Pascal, right? Into here we will consider V equal to V1. So V1 is given as 100 into 10 raised to minus 3 divided by delta V, change in volume, which is 0.5 into 10 raised to minus 3, right? Equal here V equal to V1. So numerically we can get the bulk modulus of water, which is 2.026 into 10 raised to 9 Pascal, right? The bulk modulus BW is 2.026 into 10 raised to 9 Pascal, right? Now we know the bulk modulus of air at STP, standard temperature and pressure, is 10 raised to 5 Pascal, right? So the ratio of bulk modulus BW by B air, which is equal to 2.026 into 10 raised to 9 divided by 10 raised to 5, we will get 2.026 into 10 raised to 4, 10 raised to 4, right? So this value is very large. Why this value is very large? Why the ratio of BW, bulk modulus of water divided by bulk modulus of air, is very large? Why BW by B air is very large? Because air is in the form of gas and water is in the form of liquid. That is the main reason, right? Then what will happen? So if we know in liquid intermolecular distance intermolecular distances are very small, right? In case of liquid, the intermolecular distances are very small as compared to distances in case of gases, right? So for that there are larger interatomic forces in liquid than in gases. So in case of liquid, the intermolecular distance are very small compared to distance in case of gases. That's why it requires the larger interatomic forces in case of liquid compared to gases, right? So due to this reason, the ratio of BW by B air, bulk modulus of water, to the bulk modulus of air is very large. This is also one of the important examples.